And now it's my great pleasure to welcome Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Ms. Amina Mohammed. We are delighted you are here. Thank you so much for making the effort. And the floor is yours.
Great protocol. Hello, girls and boys. Where are you? They should be at the front, right? Hi. Your Majesty, Queen Sylvia, and Your Highness, Princess Victoria, Your Excellency, Prime Minister Levin, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really privileged to be part of this gathering today, but much more excited about the energy that it will give me to go back and do more at the United Nations to have zero tolerance of violence against children. This really is a movement of transformational change. It's working together to make homes, schools, communities safe from violence, exploitation, and abuse. And we really must truly work towards ending violence against children. And there's never really been a greater momentum than we've seen now. All countries have committed to honor the goals of the 2030 Agenda, with a special focus on 16.2. This ambitious and comprehensive interrelated agenda aims at a world of universal respect for human rights and human dignity, a world which invests in its children and in which every child can grow up free from fear and from violence. It's worth noting that the views of young people were integral to developing the 2030 Agenda. More than 800,000 young people were polled on issues that they really felt needed to be addressed. The urgency of ending violence against children was among top of their priorities. Preventing violence against children is really a matter of fundamental human rights. It's also an investment in a safer, better future for all of humankind. As we learned from the implementation of the MDGs, countries that fail to address violence against children will lag behind on a wide range of indicators. With the inclusion of a distinct target in the 2030 Agenda to end all forms of violence against children, we really do have a unique opportunity to build a safe, just, and inclusive society for all. So, Your Majesty, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today does mark a significant opportunity to build on that commitment. Sadly, violence is still commonplace in the lives of children everywhere. Each year, 1 billion girls and boys experience some form of violence, physical, sexual, or psychological. A recent report from UNICEF found close to 300 million children between the ages of 2 and 4 years old experience violent discipline by their caregivers on a regular basis. Worldwide, more than 1 in 3 students between the age of 13 and 15 are experiencing bullying. Violence in childhood reverberates through lives and generations. It has a devastating and long-lasting impact on children, on families, and on communities. So the global imperative to end violence against children is pretty clear. The challenge of translating Goal 16 and all the Sustainable Development Goals into reality, and guided by the Convention of the Rights of the Child and recommendations of the United Nations Study on Violence Against Children, is a starting point in trying to measure the problem. Strengthening the collection, analysis, and use of data on the extent and the impact violence against children is central to this summit and has been a central element of the UN advocacy. In addition to regular data collection systems, countries have completed national household surveys to assess the prevalence of violence against children. I think what we really want to say here is if we don't want to leave any child behind, the data must show us where they are and who they are, so that we can truly invest and put a face behind the number and the percentages that we often talk about. And we hope that we need to see in the future so much more of this done as a part of the regular day-to-day planning that we have for children. A growing number of countries are leading and accelerating action to protect all children, and we salute this leadership and are learning from the solutions that have been developed. First, we've learned that ending violence means stronger systems, institutions, legal and policy frameworks. This is clearly articulated in our model national response plan that has been advocated by the We Protect Global Alliance. Ending violence means safe and confidential mechanisms for children to report violence in person, including online bullying and predation. It means sensitive law enforcement and justice systems to safeguard the rights of victims and prevent abuse and exploitation for happening in the first place. And it means physical and psychological support for the health and social service systems. Second, we've learned that ending violence depends on collaboration, true collaboration amongst many partners across sectors and across borders. Violence against children is everyone's business. It is a collective responsibility. Law enforcement, health, justice, social welfare, and the private sector all need to work together to prevent and to respond to this scourge. The strategies that are outlined in Inspire, which will be presented at this summit, really make the case for aligning efforts and employing proven strategies to address violence, exploitation, and abuse. In one word, we need to be much more coherent. The solutions can be delivered at scale, but only if we harness the energies, the synergies, skills, and resources across all of society. Scale means getting to everyone. And it means all of us, governments, communities, civil society, the UN, and the private sector, holding ourselves accountable for children's rights and working together to build political will, increase investment, accelerate action, and most importantly, find that we deliver results in children's lives. Third, ending violence against children goes hand in hand with strengthening efforts to end violence against women and girls. Gender inequality and violence against women in the household are all closely linked with violence against children and adolescents. Victims of violence, boys, girls, women, men, often share common risk factors. Evidence shows that prevention and response promoted together are particularly effective. And we've seen growing attention to linking strategies to address violence against women with violence against children to maximize support in both of those vulnerable groups. For example, in Tanzania, a joint plan of action to address violence against women and children has been drawn up, and it's been taking into account the specific challenges facing each of those vulnerable groups and committing resources with targeted planning and outcomes. Here, an example of where data is working for the child. Another example is the European Union and the United Nations joint effort called Spotlight, which is a new global multi-year initiative focused on eliminating all forms of violence against women and girls. It recognizes that eliminating violence must be at the center of global efforts to achieve gender equality and women's empowerment. This Solutions Summit is an opportunity for all of us to bring our stories, to bring our commitment from government, from civil society, the international organizations, private sector, our faith-based organizations and communities, to make sure that we really do break the cycle of violence in which so many children and adults are trapped. As inspiring agents of change, children's voices and experiences need to be at the heart of these efforts and the discussions in this Solutions Summit. We have an opportunity here to learn from each other, to hear them, their experiences, and to scale up effective solutions that put an end to the scourge. This summit gains special relevance as we look forward to the first General Assembly, which will review the 2030 Agenda in 2019, a place that we really will begin to spot the light on the results that we have said we would achieve. With this process, let us give the Sustainable Development Goal Target 16.2 that ends all forms of violence against children, the urgency, the investment, and the actions that it deserves. The leadership in this room, and I will say that Her Majesty Queen Sylvia, you really truly are a woman and a mother of children of Sweden, but of the world over, and we've seen your work and really applaud you for it. It is that leadership and that commitment where she's not walking the talk. Actually, Your Majesty and Queen Sylvia is running the talk, and she's running us really ragged here. But I do believe that it is that commitment that will make the change. Not today, not tomorrow, but something that should have been started yesterday. A world in which every child can grow up free from violence and enjoy the right to a safe and peaceful childhood. I thank you all.